Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Yes, we're ready for the event.
White House, this is Mission Control, Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Do you hear me?
Hey, it's Celebrate Truth. I'm Robbie Davidson. We got a good one for you today with Trump going to Mars and actually not being able to do so because you know what? He was told the truth. If there's one thing that evidently transports President Donald Trump to a state of wide-eyed, childlike wonderment, it's space travel. But Trump doesn't have any apparent understanding of what NASA's goals or technological challenges. He just wants to be the biggest and best at everything during his presidency with no clear idea of what that means. That's right. This is a raw story article that just came out. This is how they're going to twist it. Trump is actually just asking for something that should be done because didn't we go to the moon in the 1960s? Well, we're going to see very clearly in this video that no, we did not. And with the evidence mounting that they've never been back, nor are they going anywhere. They keep prolonging stuff. We're going to see exactly why Trump might be so upset the fact that they're not able to do what he wants them to do by 2020. Nothing better demonstrates this as the conversation Trump had with former acting NASA Administrator Robert Lightfoot Jr. in April 2017, as detailed by former White House communications official Cliff Sims in his new book, Team of Vipers, and reported by the Daily Intelligencer. During a congratulatory video conference with astronaut Peggy Whitson, who had just broken the record for the longest continuous spaceflight by an American, Trump asked,
Tell me, Mars, what do you see a timing for actually sending humans to Mars? Is there a schedule, and when would you see that happening?
Well, I think as your bill directed, it'll be approximately in the 2030s. As I mentioned, we actually are building hardware to test the new heavy launch vehicle, and this vehicle will take us further than we've ever been away from this planet. So, unfortunately, spaceflight takes a lot of time and money, so getting there will require some international cooperation to get it to be a planet-wide approach in order to make it successful, just because it is a very expensive endeavor.
While that scene was visible to the public, Trump had apparently been pestering Lightfoot about a Mars mission for several minutes before the cameras started rolling. Sims wrote that he leaned in towards Lightfoot and made him an offer. But what if I gave you all the money you ever could need to do it? Trump asked. What if we sent NASA's budget through the roof, but focused entirely on that instead of whatever else you're doing? Could it work then? Lightfoot told him he was sorry, but he didn't think it was possible. This left Trump visibly disappointed. Sims wrote, but I tried to refocus him on the task at hand. We were now about 90 seconds before going live. After officials finally convinced a crestfallen Trump that he couldn't put a man on Mars by 2020 just for him, he distractedly strode over to the bathroom mirror, looked at his reflection and muttered, "Space station, this is your president," according to Sims. Sadly for Trump, NASA is nowhere close to sending astronauts to Mars yet. They still need to work out a number of challenges with the spacecraft: nutrition, health, and transmissions. And they also want to launch the mission at a point when Mars is closest to Earth. That moment will be October 2020, 1 month before the presidential election. But that is not nearly enough time to solve all these challenges, so NASA will need to wait years for the next time the planets get close enough. If Trump is serious about a Mars mission, either because he thinks it will be of important scientific value or, more likely, because he just thinks it would be awesome, he should absolutely give NASA the funding to do it and plays his part in the advancement of space travel. But his hopes of being able to congratulate the astronauts on the surface of Mars from the Oval Office are just not going to happen. So there you have it, talking about the fact that they're moving into the 2030s, but yet we have SpaceX, we got Virgin Galactic, we've got Jeff Bezos now from Amazon, all with their aspirations to get to Mars in the early 2020s, and yet NASA can't do it. And even if Trump gave NASA all the money they ever could need. Now, I'm just wondering if all of a sudden he said, I'll give you $1 trillion. They get I think it's $56 million per day right now. But let's just say that he tripled that, quadrupled that. They still can't do it. Notice, though, that they're talking about Mars. Trump is asked on numerous occasions about going back to the moon, planting a flag, driving a rover, hey, maybe playing golf. I mean, after all, Trump does have a lot of Trump golf courses. I actually was at one time just to have lunch, not to golf, but they are very nice. But Trump's a big golfer. You think that he would want one of his golf balls to be launched off the moon. But the fact is, it's all science fiction. Maybe Trump should have actually picked Yale professor David Galetner as his science and technological advisor. Unfortunately, he didn't make the cut. But let's just see what Yale professor David Galetner has to say about the moon landings. How can we manage to organize a U.S. crewed orbital Mars mission by the mid-2030s when we never even went to the moon? The idea is laughable, as was Obama's administration, if I might add. The Apollo moon landings are the biggest fraud in mankind's history, even worse than that of global warming nonsense, he added. This is not the first time the controversial professor has attacked the Apollo moon landings. In his 2012 book, America Light, How Imperial Academia Dismantled Our Culture and Ushered in the Obamacrats, the author voices his concerns about the impossibility of space travel outside of Earth's magnetic field. In the modern age, we have been outside the Earth's magnetic field, with the exception of the alleged 24 human beings who flew lunar flights in the Apollo program during the 4-year period spanning 1968 through 1972. All human space flights have taken place in low Earth orbit, or better yet, LEO, or below. Even the International Space Station conducts all its operations in LEO, he explained in his book. Why is that? That is because orbits higher and lower orbit can lead to early failure of electronic components due to intense radiation and charge accumulation, he wrote. The Yale professor also documented in his book how NASA was and still is aware of the impossibility of traveling beyond the Van Allen radiation belt, a highly charged radioactive belt that is part of the planet's magnetic field. The Apollo missions were supposed to be the first event where humans traveled through the Van Allen belts, which was one of several radiation hazards known by mission planners. But even today, NASA scientists admit they can't get past the Van Allen belts, he claims in his 2012 book, which is true. The Orion Project, Trial Under Fire, Google it, watch it on YouTube, it's for free, and you will see them clearly tell you that they're still trying to figure out how do we get through the Van Allen radiation belts. It's a lot of radiation.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
If NASA scientists honestly admit in 2012 that they still haven't worked out how to properly shield the spacecraft from radiation emitted from the Van Allen radiation belts right up to 2019, how the hell did we send human beings into space covered in aluminum foil suits at a particular time when the solar activity was at its peak? The answer is simple. It just never happened, he concluded on the matter. Despite his controversial claims, David Galetner is a world-renowned and multiple award-winning computer scientist known for his contributions to parallel computation and early predictions of the rise of the World Wide Web. Interesting. So, you have a professor from Yale saying the Apollo moon landings is nonsense. And yes, the Apollo moon landings are nonsense. Maybe that's why Trump is so upset that they're not able to do anything for him in his presidency. And no, it's not just rebellion. Because when someone whispers and says, "What if I give you all the money you need?" The direct quote was, "The sky's the limit." In the sense that I can give you as much as you need. Will it be able to be possible? Really, that's exactly what he said. And this is what we say. But he talked about the roof. What if we sent NASA's budget through the roof, but focused entirely on that instead of whatever else you're doing? Could it work then? Trump says. Trump says this, and yet the answer is no. Is it money? I've heard from many people the reason they're not going to the moon is because it's too costly. Oh, we're not going back to the moon because it costs so much. Yeah, try again. Oh, we're not going to the moon because we already went there. Yeah, like that makes sense. Oh, we're not going to the moon because China just landed on the far side with its probe. Yeah, right. Seriously, people, stop and really honestly think about this. It is incredibly important, because if they didn't go to the moon, the question is, why would they lie? Please take time to check out my many documentaries on my channel, Celebrate Truth. I go through these in The Global Lie, Scientism Exposed, Impossible. Many of these documentaries will actually show you, and also you will hear the direct quotes from the space agencies, from NASA astronauts, from archivists, from scientists, leading to the conclusion that this is the greatest deception ever done in the history of the world. And yet the big question is, why would they lie? And while this video I don't want to get into why they would lie, that's why I've recommended many of my documentaries and videos on my channel, Celebrate Truth. It's up for you to do your own research, to look into it. But understand that the Big Bang heliocentric narrative they've given us with space, with billions and trillions of galaxies, has just created an atheistic worldview, one that they can eradicate a creator. The reality is, there is a creator. He's very close. He's looking down on you right now. If you look up, he is there. What they want you to believe is that you came from nothing, that you're a random accident in a universe of billions and trillions of other universes. Oh, why? Because they have magical telescopes. Why? Because they look into the distance, galaxies throughout space and time, dark matter, black holes. We see pictures all the time. And yet, they're not going anywhere. We were not made to leave this planet. No. What you're seeing in the sky is not terra firma, where you can plant flags, drive rovers, and play golf on. No, you can't colonize. The idea of even going to one of these so-called planets and colonizing them makes absolutely no sense. When people are starving, people are homeless, and we have so many problems here, this is a distraction, and not only a distraction, a deception to lead you away from the true creator of creation. Trump might be starting to understand the truth, maybe not. Maybe his aspirations is to be remembered as a president that got the first humans to land on Mars. But I'm sorry, Donald Trump, it's not going to happen. Nor will there be a moon landing in your time. Because honestly, there was never a moon landing. That's the deception. Hopefully Trump will actually look into it more and actually be able to figure out the truth and realize why, with all the money, and if I sent the budget through the roof, they still can't do this. In other articles, he's actually talked about the moon, and yet the answer is the same. They have plans right now for Mars. Mars. They can't even get anywhere, and yet they want to tell us about Mars. Nothing but propaganda, just nothing but deception and agenda. And I've gone into this many, many times in many of my videos. Please look into it. Don't just shake your head. It could change your eternity. Keep exposing the world's lies and celebrate truth. Blessings.